Is all I ever knew. It's my time, hit these rhymes, enjoy this lyrical view. Going head first like a shirt, it's just what I'ma do. It's automatic, no manual, tune in, don't change the channel.
We back with another episode of the Good Talk podcast. I'm your host, Tunde, and right here I have a special guest, producer and writer, king of NBA memes, one of the best in the industry, Josiah Johnson. How's it going?
What's going on, Legend? Thank you for having me on the chat or on
Hey,
the pod.
man.
Hoping having a good talk with you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. First off, very important, how's quarantine going for you?
It's been good, man. I got two kids and a wife, so we just been social distancing, holding it down in LA, trying to do all the right stuff. Obviously, super concerned and nervous that a lot of people aren't doing the right things, and that's kind of why these numbers continue to be the way they are. And I think a lot of people are trying to get to some semblance of normalcy, not realizing that that's probably not going to be the case. And every day that we don't, follow directions and listen to professionals is basically another week that we get set back. So, hoping that people figure it out. But I've been Rona free, thankfully, been safe and just been holding it down with the family.
Okay, that's good. For some of the people, they don't know, you hooped at UCLA, and now you're a producer, writer. Where did that, or explain that transition going from a hooper and now to a creative?
I was always obviously fascinated with entertainment and with basketball. My dad played in the league, so I was around the NBA a lot growing up. He got actually hurt when I was a little kid, though, so didn't have too much. But grew up in Los Angeles and was blessed to go to a lot of schools that had, a lot of kids whose parents were in the entertainment industry. So just used to always be heavily involved in entertainment as a little kid. I used to write scripts on little legal pads. My pops would leave out. I'd format them like his scripts and try and write little stories, and just always super fascinated with that side of it. And growing up in Los Angeles is kind of the world that you're immersed in. So, loved hoops growing up. Was thankful. I'm 6'8", so I was blessed to be, have some level of skill, get a scholarship to UCLA. Knew in college that it probably really wasn't going to pan out with sports, so I had to figure out some other stuff. So at that point, really just started focusing on the entertainment stuff and kind of learning that side. So thankfully, I've been blessed to do a lot of great stuff in my life, and obviously here I am today, kind of, doing some cool stuff. So it's been a long process, but to say, it's hard to when you're young, because everybody wants you just to be that one thing, right? Oh, you're a basketball player, just devote your life to that. But what people like LeBron James have showed us is that you can be so much more than an athlete. So don't ever, I was good at basketball. I also had a 4.3 GPA in high school. So I always, took the class and all that type of stuff serious too. And that's the thing that I always prided myself on: AP classes, honor classes, making sure I did my work in the classroom. My mom's a teacher. My dad's whole family has, are teachers. So it, in our house, you had to do both. You couldn't just be a hooper who didn't care about, knowledge and growing as a human being. So.
Sheesh, man. Good stuff. You also produced a show, animated show for Comedy Central. Tell us about that for people that aren't familiar with it.
So actually, it's funny. When I was at UCLA, I used to ride the bench a lot, and that's kind of what helped make this show a reality. So at UCLA, me and a couple of my buddies, Quinn Hawking, Ike Williams, we used to sit next to each other during games, and we would joke around and try and just pass the time, and always be invested in the game and helping our team do. But we knew we weren't going to play. So when you're on the bench for those 2.5, 3 hours, it becomes extremely boring. So you need to find ways just to occupy the time. But from that, after college, like I said, I knew I wasn't really going to have a career playing basketball. So I started working in sports for NFL Network, doing a bunch of stuff. And then on the side, I created a blog called Jersey Chaser, which was like, I don't know what you would compare it to, but like a black Bleacher Report or some of these other spots, heavy in the memes. And this was like 2009. So this is way back in days, way ahead of his time. But on that account, we were doing a bunch of stuff on YouTube. So we did a Kobe and LeBron puppet parody back in 2009 when they were supposed to meet in the finals, but obviously LeBron couldn't get out the East. But so we did a parody of that, made it super raunchy, and at that point we were big LeBron guys, and we knew, kind of LeBron was getting a lot of hate at that point. So we made this thing clowning Kobe and being super pro LeBron. It ended up going viral. Kobe fans ended up loving it. And then from that, we got reached out to by a couple guys that worked in animation that were looking to develop some projects, and they reached out to us. And they initially pitched us a show. It was like, they want to do something like on LeBron and Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Was their initial pitch. And we're kind of just like, nah, it's kind of whack. So I was like, yo, what if we do something, we sat on the bench at UCLA. What if we do something on kind of, our hijinks and shenanigans and stuff we used to get going. Their eyes lit up. So this was like 2009. And then I always tell people think it's like a quick journey. So we started working on the show in like 2009. That thing didn't air on Comedy Central until 2016. So, 7 years of work and development and all that type of stuff. But we're blessed and fortunate to get a show out of it, Legends of Chamberlain Heights, that ran for 2 seasons. And, I see still people on Twitter talking about it. So I'm glad that we impacted the culture just a little bit. Obviously, wish it could have went longer and we'd had opportunity to do more stuff. But got 20 episodes, so can't be mad at that. And, here I am now just still trying to get these flares out.
Oh, for sure, impacting the culture. And one of it is NBA memes. And man, a couple of my favorites recently that you put out, the Patrick Beverley. So you posted a picture of Bubbles from The Wire moving his cart, and you said this is how Patrick Beverley is going to be, passing out white tees. And then you also had a video skit from Coming to America, the Arrival part.
Yeah.
And you said that's how the Lakers and LeBron is pulling up. So where did all this creativity just like come from? Because man, you're in your bag for real.
And look, I'm 38, so I've been in the game a long time. But as a kid, I watched so much television, so many movies. I used to go to movie theaters and movie hop, watch 3 or 4 movies in a day, just anything you could think of, whatever timed up with. So you'd have the main movie you want to go see. All right, then when that one was ending, all right, was close enough in that range that we'd go see. So it'd be a bunch of randomness or whatever. But so I basically just have all this info just stored in my brain. I got a real photographic memory. So whenever something happens, I always can just correlate it to a scene in a movie or something in pop culture or some way. And it took me a long time to kind of really understand memes and how they work. But I've been just so knee deep in them for the past 3 or 4 years that now it's just second nature. I can hear something and right away, like I hear Dame staying in the presidential suite. Well, I know everybody on the Blazers ain't staying in the presidential suite. So it's like, what's their perspective like? So what's their room like? Or what is Dame's room like? And, naturally, like a movie like Coming to America will always pop in my head because of the disparity in the scenes. They had the janky room with the police tape versus the other room with the jacuzzi or whatever it may be. So those are just things I know when people see that they can really understand, because we've all shared those moments. We remember how much they touched us, and they're really emotional moments for us. So when I can take those and correlate them and basically transform them into something that's now related to the NBA or the NBA space, for me, it just makes me happy, makes me smile. And really, when I'm at home doing this stuff, I'm in a vacuum, so I never know, what the tweet's going to do or how it's going to perform. I just look at it like, it made me laugh. I know it'll entertain somebody I know. And really, for a lot of this, I'm tweeting for my friends, or sometimes I'm tweeting for somebody specifically that I know will get a kick out of this because, it's their favorite movie or favorite character or favorite song or whatever it may be. So for me, it's just kind of looking at it. It's funny. It's like an art form. I've been doing this since 2009, not really realizing that I'm a quote unquote artist. And this is really the next level of stuff that people do now. And when you're on the social media space, if you can't communicate with memes, you're going to get left in the dust. If you don't understand what's going on or the trends or how people are talking, how they're communicating, then it's going to be very difficult for you to really enjoy the platform.
For sure. So we're going to switch it over to some hoops. What are your thoughts on, do you see this season finishing, or eventually there's going to be a stoppage and just shut down?
Look, I've been super, super, super just not thinking that the season was going to be able to start. I see the way everything's going. It looks great. I got the chance to interview Alex Caruso yesterday.
Great.
And he said he felt safe. He said he felt like the guys felt like, it was kind of like a summer camp type feel to it. But I just know the way this Rona's moving. And anytime you're taking, the 22 best teams in the NBA and taking them to Florida, which is a state that's known for being out of pocket, Florida man isn't a meme for no reason. So I just, I've seen the cases out there surging. Disney World's reopening, but Disney corporate offices aren't reopening. So it's kind of just like, people are more vested in getting the money than actually defeating this disease and the long-term impact it's going to have. So we've already seen cases of guys testing positive on campus and getting sent to quarantine. Rashawn Holmes, I don't think he tested positive, but he crossed the imaginary bubble line to go get some delivery. But you just realize, like, if this is what guys are doing after a couple of days, they're risking it all after 3 days to get some Popeyes or whatever he ended up getting. You know what I mean? It really, from a mental standpoint, you got to think deeper than that. And I knew when this thing first started, man, it was funny. Like, they were talking about they're still going to have the NCAA tournament, but they weren't going to be able to no fans in the stands. And it's like, what college do you think is going to send a bunch of 18 to 21-year-old men across the country to play a game with nobody in the stands? If it wasn't safe enough to have a camera crew or people in the stands there, it's like, we'll throw you guys in this petri dish and let you figure it out because you're our entertainment. So I'm super optimistic. I hope we'll get at least some semblance of basketball. But I'm more scared now, and I'm a big LeBron fan. I keep having this vision, like, what happens now the Lakers get to the finals, and then, a couple of dudes on the team get the run and they got a quarantine, and there's not enough guys to field the team or whatever it may be. It's just like, you don't want to get in a situation where that happens. I think the NBA and Disney have done a great job of trying to make sure that that's not the case. But, like, this disease has shown you the only way to really get rid of it is to quarantine. You look at all these other countries now that get sports back, that get schools back. And what they did was they really hunkered down and did what they needed to do, where I feel like our country hasn't been put in a position to do that. So I'm optimistic and hopeful that it happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up tomorrow and it's like, yo, season's done. Like, the way this stuff has been going, like, anything is possible.
No, yep, you're definitely right. So speaking of LeBron, what are your thoughts, especially when we were here the NBA was going to resume a couple of months, and this situation with coronavirus? Does this championship hold more weight or less weight to a guy like LeBron, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, to their resume?
I think whoever wins it, and I've said this a few times, whoever wins this is going to be, one of the toughest championships we've seen. I think Giannis and Coach Bud over Milwaukee made a great point. Like, they've never done anything like this. Like, this is straight AAU. No home court advantage. Yep. You got guys literally living in a bubble together for months. But even like the mental psyche, which I don't think a lot of people understand. Like, right now, it's just all players, right? It's still kind of a honeymoon phase. Now, what happens when family starts coming into the bubble, or these IG models start coming into the bubble, and you got an IG model who's literally maybe hanging out with a player on one team that decides, I'm not really feeling you no more. I'm going to go jump ship to the dude, 2 hotels down. Or you got games now, Westbrook's playing games with Pat Bev's in the stands in these empty stadiums, screaming at him the whole game, going, getting in his head. So I think it's really, honestly, when you're talking about not playing to the crowd, we kind of are like, as a former hooper, we're like gladiators, right? You really feed off that emotion in the crowd that he gives you, right? The dunks and the looks and the whatever, the Snoop front row going ham and all that type of stuff. So for these dudes to not see that and really just have to play straight up basketball, we're going to see a different type of basketball than I think we've ever seen in life at this high of a level. So it's really just going to be, straight just, grudge match, throw them in the cage, let them figure it out. So I'm super excited to see it. No matter who wins it, I think this will probably be one of the toughest championships in NBA history, just considering all the factors and variables that are going into it.
Okay, so who do you got winning?
I mean, Lakers. LeBron James.
Let's put the Lakers to the side. Who else do you have? Who else do you see as favorites?
So it's cool. My dad played for the Clippers, so I grew up a Clippers fan. So I spent a lot of my life getting humiliated just for liking the team that I like. I didn't know any better. But he also played for the Milwaukee Bucks, so he's working with the Bucks right now as a color commentator. So I was really, really, really looking forward to either a Lakers-Bucks finals or a Clippers-Bucks finals, just for the love and tickets and plugs I was going to be able to have, in LA and Milwaukee. I'm going to hit them up and get some tickets about them. Like, that's just, that was a no-brainer. So I'm going to be in at least 2 or 3 finals games. So I was really looking forward to that. But, to see this now, I think it'll be Lakers or Clippers out of the West, and then Bucks out of the East. I just don't think anybody can get with them. I know the Sixers are solid and the Heat are solid, but I just don't think anybody has enough to take over Giannis if that whole squad stays healthy. So, I'd love to see a Lakers-Bucks finals, but, Lakers in 6 all day.
So what about the Rockets? Because, their playing style is kind of unique, especially for this situation, because, a lot of guys aren't in game shape, and they're their offense of just getting that big man in that pick and just y'all one-on-one. So what about them? What are your thoughts on them and if they can win a championship?
Look, I'm rolling with the Rockets. I'm friends with Paul Wall. Like, I love the city. I've been heavy, ever since I was a little kid and Mike Jones and Slim Thug and all them dudes came out. And I'm just like, who are these dudes? I'm really rolling with what Houston has to offer. Obviously, Destiny's Child, Beyonce, and all the greatness that comes from that beautiful city. So I think, look, Mike D'Antoni's style, he likes to run up the numbers. It's a style I really enjoy watching as a basketball fan. You love to see dudes scoring. I think Harden and Westbrook, if they can both stay healthy, Westbrook announced he got the Rona. According to Elite Media Group, Harden had the Rona. Them dudes is out here really getting it, dropping news and flexing and really, letting their nuts hang. So really shout out to the Elite crew. But, saying that, so we'll just see how these dudes are able to react. But I think those dudes are going to have inside the bubble. I really, think they have a more competitive advantage than just kind of a normal situation. Because like I said, this is going to be a different style of basketball. Like what you were seeing before in the season, you really have to try and get that out of your mind to understand. When it's 5-on-5 like this with nobody in there, really, the bucket getters are going to be what really, separates. Defense, they say wins championships, but I feel like the defense is going to be a little sloppy. So whoever is going to be able to get buckets at a high level is going to be the ones to really be worried about. So the Rockets are definitely in that mix. I love Westbrook, UCLA guy. Been rolling with him, has a chip on his shoulder. Don't ever think he's really got the love he's deserved, despite, the 3 seasons of averaging a triple-double. It kind of has this negative mentality around him. So I was really looking forward to seeing these guys team up and get together. And look, I like the D'Antoni small ball style. You got to be able to compete. I think with any type of style, like we've seen with the Warriors and what they've been successful doing the past few years, like if you can play with that small crew and get buckets, it makes it very difficult. Like at the end of the day, like defense is great, but if you're down 20, that D really don't matter no more. So, I think the Rockets have a shot. I wouldn't be surprised, between like the top 5-6 teams in the league in the West, if any of them ended up in the finals, just because how crazy of a season this has been, like, and how crazy of a year this has been. You know what I mean? Like, look, we lost Kobe, but we got the Rona shutting stuff down. 45 million people unemployed, all this crazy stuff that happened. Naya Rivera obviously just tragically passing away in Lake Piru. Like, so nothing would surprise me. Honestly, I look at life now, and it's just like, it's almost like, it's like a dream or something. It's, every day you wake up and something crazy is going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if any of the top 6 teams out of the West made it to the championship and won a ring.
Yep. So we got a segment called Quick Talk. It's a rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, get your responses. Who's your GOAT of all sports?
It's funny. People think it's LeBron, and I love LeBron, but for me, it's Kareem. What he's been able to accomplish on and off the court. Kareem is that dude, another UCLA Bruin. But even today, you saw with like the anti-Semitic article that he wrote. I mean, really, just blasting people for the anti-Semitism. Kareem always steps up to the plate, always willing to take on social challenges, dealt with a lot in his life. And just to see, I think people don't give him the love that he deserves because he was so tall, not understanding like to make a 15 to 17-foot hook shot consistently is probably one of the greatest things you could ever see in sports. So I think the way he carries himself on and off the court, what he's done for society, what he's done for Black people as a whole, I think you can't be understated. Like Kareem has always been front line, always A1. When it's time to boycott or protest, he's always there. When it's time to speak up, and address injustice going on with Blacks or other communities, he's going to speak up on that too. So, everything he's done on the court amazing, but that Kareem is my guy.
Great answer. So you're part of NBA Twitter, and I know you're always talking about inviting this person to a cookout, not inviting this person to a cookout. Who's 5 people that you invite to a cookout on TV, NBA personality, or off TV, so like social media? 5 people.
5 people? Okay, I'm going to go with Adam Lefko, who's my boy, who's over at Turner. So me and Lefko go way back. He was actually my intern way back in the day when I was a producer at NFL Network. So I always tell Lefko, like, yo, dog, I just knew he was going to be as successful as he was back then just because he was proactive, he was hungry, he always had ideas, he always wanted to do more than his position. That's what I always tell people that start as like production assistants or whatever. Be more than your position, you know what I'm saying? Be more than what you're coming to work to do. Learn and grow, and that's how you succeed. So Lefko, I'm going to go Alex Caruso because he's a legend. And I told him, honestly, I invited him to the cookout yesterday. He said I'm wearing Black Lives Matter on the back of my jersey. And I was like, yo, like we're not really giving invites. But once they start happening again, you definitely give one. He was like, nah, dog, just give me a to-go plate. Just give me that to-go plate. I'm like, Caruso, I'll ride with you for the end of eternity now. So Lefko, Caruso, Mike Miller to me is another legend just for everything he did with LeBron and supporting him. Oh, man, I'm trying to think. Who else? Of the 3, I got 2 more. I'm going to say, interesting. Dang, I don't know. Two more Caucasians to invite to the cookout. Where do I start? I got something. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
You add in Max. You bring in Max Kellerman.
Man, I don't know if Max gets my invite. I don't know, dog. I will bring Sean Farnham from ESPN. I think Sean's the reason I went to UCLA. Sean is a dude that I love. Really has always had my back, been there, been super supportive. So that's 4. I need one more. I want it to be somebody ball. I'm gonna go with Grant Goldberg. Grant been 10 toes down. Grant from ESPN, formerly of Bleacher Report, but he's been 10 toes down, really coming with the memes, using his platform to help raise awareness too. And then if I got to throw in a 6, I'd probably be Haley O'Shaughnessy from The Ringer, who she's been tweeting about Breonna Taylor every single day. And again, it's nice when you got allies that are using their platforms to really raise awareness and say, and even when all that stuff was going down inside the ringer with Simmons, I think she was super vocal on being like, nah, this is not how we all view the world and rock. So those 6, I want to have, make sure we're represented with men and women. I think we'll be at the cookout.
No, that's a great 6. So as a writer and producer, top 5 TV shows of all time.
I got to go with In Living Color just because, what they did was just at that time. Yep. It's tough, man. Like, it's tough because all the stuff going on with Cosby, like a different world. And, Cosby Show would definitely be in that mix. But different world, I think, definitely still keeps it, especially for what they were doing behind the scenes with Debbie Allen, directing, producing, doing stuff that Black people, let alone Black women who we know are literally the lowest on the totem pole in terms of how they're treated in Hollywood. But, I got to hang out as a kid on set with her and see what was cracking and just be a part of that show. So just knowing everything they were accomplishing, like a young Jada Pinkett showing up on set, or Kadeem Hardison, or Jasmine Guy, or, all these people who were like, they just elevated Black culture. So damn, I got to go The Wire. Obviously, that's probably my favorite show, just as
same.
The writing, but just the way that though I didn't know a lot about Baltimore going into it, but just the way they speak, the way they move, like it's just like you got to learn that culture and that world. And I think that was one of my favorites. I remember when it was on HBO, they would show the episode, but then at midnight, like they would put the next week's episode on demand. Yeah. So literally we'll watch it and then watch it again that next Sunday and then do the same thing all the way through. Another one is Entourage. I think for me, like Entourage, just like the way it makes me feel emotionally and kind of, following a Vinny Chase and then that journey to get where he's at, for me is just being in that and seeing Hollywood and kind of realizing like the dark underbelly. It started to hit a lot closer to home as I got more successful in the industry, but always loved that show. I love how short it was too. And then the celebrity cameos always got me. And then last show, there's so many good shows. I'm gonna go with something random. Like, honestly, I grew up watching a ton of Gilligan's Island, so I don't even know if it was good, but I just know, like, I've seen, and it's crazy. That show, ain't been on the air since whatever, the 70s, whatever it may be. I watched reruns probably in the 80s, 90s, but I feel like I've seen every episode of Gilligan's Island just because, like, that was the only thing, like, manners were worth watching on TV as a kid growing up. Like, all these other channels, I'm not trying to watch these soap operas or whatever, so Gilligan's Island would come on, and I really rock with that, so I think that'd be my 5.
Okay. And then lastly, let me get your top 3 movies of all time.
Top 3? Dang. Top 3, I got to go Godfather 2, probably in that top spot. I think for me, like, just seeing the directing, the acting, that joint is long. I don't really have a long attention span, but that's a movie. It's like 3+ hours I can sit through and really never lose interest, never lose focus. And it just teaches you the game, really how to learn these things. Probably, I'm just throwing them out. I'm trying to think. I hate to be put on the spot because I'm always like, damn, I forgot something great. But White Man Can't Jump, got to give it some love too, just for the fact that it's a rom-com mass as a basketball movie. And I remember as a kid, my dad's in it. He plays Raymond, who robbed the liquor store. One of the most iconic scenes. So I just remember as a kid, I had to see that movie probably like 6-7 times at screenings, but really just loved it. I remember when Rosie Perez, when her boobie got exposed, it kind of like, ooh, like, it was just like, she being one of my like first crushes when I was a little kid. But, that movie, and then I'm trying to think, oh man, this is so much good stuff. Like, what would I watch? Honestly, probably Baby Boy, just to be real, and no knock to all the other John Singleton's other incredible works. Like, it's not a better movie, obviously, than Boys in the Hood or Higher Learning. But for some reason, when that movie comes on, no matter where it's at, I will literally watch the thing all the way through. Like, if I flip through the screen, and generally it's BET, we're keeping it real, but if I flip through and Baby Boy pops up on BET, I think me, like a lot of people on this planet, when that happens, it's like, yo, I'm watching this thing all the way through just because, the writing was great. Tyrese was legendary in his Snoop, Ving Rhames as Melvin, just character development. Like, that movie's hilarious to me. And it takes place kind of in the area where I grew up at. So all that stuff really hits close to home for me.
Okay. So what do you got coming up that the people should be looking out for?
I mean, doing a ton of stuff, man. Doing a show, Dunk Bait, obviously on Yahoo Sports that airs every Monday morning. I'm super excited about and getting the opportunity to work with LeJethro Jenkins and Zach Schwartz over there is a blessing. We do a lot of fun stuff, and Yahoo really lets us push the limits in terms of what they normally do. Sometimes they're like, nah, y'all can't do that. Y'all gonna get us all fired if we put this up. But just having them let us be comfortable and let us be us is great. Also, I got to work on a show with Ava DuVernay and Michael Starberry on Colin Kaepernick that I'm super, super, super excited about. Yeah, that's I've been a big Cap supporter, was 10 toes down, early on when he first got boycotted. And I think that's the thing I love about my social platform is like I make a lot of jokes, but I also make a lot of stuff that makes you think and satire and going to a level that most people aren't comfortable with and being super out of pocket as the young kids say. So really excited about that show. Not really sure, obviously, with the Rona shutting down production when it's going to be able to come out, but was on the writing team for that. I got to work with Michael Starberry and Ava, who are literally two of my idols and heroes in this industry, and just to see Ava how she moves and see her production company and just the voices and the power that she gives to a lot of people who are underrepresented in this industry. And like you walk around her campus and it literally just inspires you and makes you believe that as Black people we can do stuff that elevates the culture. A lot of times you look at there's a stigma around Black content and that it's not good enough, it's lesser than or whatever, but just being around her and the professionalism that she exudes and what she demands from people that work for us. Like you're not working for Ava doing no BS, coming up short, not working hard, because she'll call you out on it, and she has a level of excellence that she demands. And that's why you've seen that she's so successful in this game and has done so much incredible work that's impacted the culture, from her docs to her scripted stuff, from 13th to When They See Us, and and everything in between. So just to be a part of that, man, super excited about that. And always got stuff developing, some shows. Got a comedy show I'm developing. Got a scripted drama that I'm developing. A couple animated projects that I got in the works as well. So for me, just trying to stay busy, and I think just for trying to set a great example for everybody else to see, look, we look at social as we don't really know what it is, but you can create a lane for yourself, create a name for yourself, and go from just, putting up memes to working on Netflix shows or whatever it may be. So I always want to try and just inspire the younger people to be like, look, don't take this as a joke or a game. When you see me pop up on Twitter, it's work. I'm putting out content for a reason. It's to build my brand and to give me opportunities to really support my family doing stuff that I want to do. So trying to just be, a good positive force for people out there and as encouraging as possible. Whenever somebody needs some help or they want a question answered, or should I do this or that, I'm always just trying to be really, really kind of an asset. I had a lot of people when I was coming up that were there for me, that really looked out for me and didn't want nothing in return. I think that's a big thing for me. Is like, look, I'm down to help people. Nothing in return up top. But now if you get millions of dollars and it works out, go ahead, let's me with a job. Let's make money together. But never want to make money off somebody, because I saw my dad when he played in the league. There was a lot of people that kind of leech and cling on and don't try to elevate. I look at somebody like LeBron and what he's been able to accomplish off the court is because he's had a team that's been 10 toes down, 100% invested in his well-being. And now, they got $100 million media companies and Space Jam and all these TV shows. And that's what I really aspire. And that's what I want for our culture. I think, even before, all this Black Lives Matter stuff really started hitting the news, I've been super disappointed in Hollywood and entertainment and music and just the lack of opportunities for super talented Black people. So for me, if I can be in those spaces and open those doors, and also while I'm in those spaces, show them like, look, this is what we're capable of. We can do everything y'all can do, and a little bit better if I'm keeping it real. So, let's give other opportunities to other people that look like me and look like you to be able to succeed.
Yes, sir. Hey, you've been killing it. Wish you all the success. Congrats to all your accomplishments. So where can the people follow you on social media?
King Josiah 54 on Twitter and Instagram. If you're looking for me on Facebook or other spots, you're gonna be disappointed. So just keep it to the IG, keep it to the Twitter. That's where my bread and butter is. Twitter literally all day. I really don't believe in designated off days or schedules. So I might wake up at 3 a.m. in a cold sleep or whatever, see something cracking, all right, let me get these jokes out. I know somebody's up is gonna see it. So, but yeah, Twitter's my bread and butter. That's where I'm at all day. So.
No, check him out if you're not already following him. One of the funniest and best creatives, I'm telling you, on social media and even outside of social media. This guy's rocking all these different shows. Josiah, I appreciate you for coming on the podcast. This is great.
Man, thank you very much for reaching out.